Happy Halloween from the RPG Maker General Podcast or the rpgmgp. We live, we die, we live again.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the RPG Maker General Podcast or the rpgmgp, your one-stop shop for everything RPG Maker, for a special Halloween edition. This is Cody, aka Marpix, and with me today are the Red Mage.
Hello everybody.
Blue Sky Robyn.
Oh, I'm here. Hi.
And Deldris.
He's back.
We all are.
Yeah, we're all here.
We are he.
We, as Aerosmith would say, we are back in the saddle again. It's been a while. Our last podcast was what, June, July?
Somewhere a long time ago.
In a galaxy far, far away.
Yeah.
Life was different 4 months ago.
Yes, it was. For me, it was.
Yeah.
Life was different back then, and right now, life is worse. As I
Well then.
Oof.
All right,
Welcome to the RPG Maker General Suicide Pact.
the true horror story. Oh boy.
So I just wanted to take a couple minutes to catch up with everyone since the hiatus period. So work got even worse for me after we went on hiatus, as predicted. So thank God I put on the brakes when I did, because if I had kept going with the podcast, I would have been dead. Just straight up dead.
Rip Cody.
This guy, walks up to our boss and, slams down his badge and says that he quits. And so they just cut his hours so he didn't have to work 50 hours a week like the rest of us.
Yeah, and Deldris is still working 50-plus hour weeks.
He makes me stay for 10 hours every day when they don't need my fucking help. God, I hate our boss so much. It's like, oh, what's that? That department's going to be done after they've been working 7 hours today, and you're at 6.5 hours of overtime, which is killing our PI, and we're not getting bonuses because of it? Yeah, go help them anyway. It's like that
help them anyway.
Every day.
Yeah, because we're short-handed, number one, and number two, me and Deldris are like the printer guys, and that's like an office kind of thing. You never want to be the guy that fixes the printer, because then everyone assumes you know how to do everything. And
Everything, yes.
And you're always going to be asked to fix the printer. So he and I, for the past, half a year, have been the guy who fixes the printer when no one else can. Yeah.
A hero Gotham needs.
But I just don't get it, because, they expect us to fix the printer, but he leaves it too now, and I don't fix the printer. I don't even go over there. I just go clean or some other bullshit to not help them until I get to go home. Still makes me stay.
It's psychological. Just having you there makes management feel better.
Yep, that's exactly what it is.
Oh man, he got mad last time because, okay, so the department I'm always sent to go help, on a general basis, other than Cody, they will not help themselves. They're those people that just kind of don't do anything because they realize at the end of the day that they're going to send more people over there to fix all their problems for them. So I'm not doing that anymore. So I just go clean instead, which we are assigned to do. So they can't really get me on anything because I'm still doing my job.
Yeah, my department has basically turned into babysitting since our old manager left.
Oof.
All right, enough bitch retrospecting. Deldris, anything else you had going on during the hiatus?
Is this entire segment retrospecting? Anyway, Danganronpa 3 came out.
Yep.
I definitely finished that. It was definitely amazing, but this is not the podcast for that, so I'll move on. I started playing the new South Park game. It's pretty good. Oh yeah, Fortnite Battle Royale came out too, so I've been doing that.
Fair enough.
All right, Red Mage, how about you?
Recently, also beat Dangan 3. Well, I watched my wife beat it. We were just streaming it from the television, so that was pretty cool. I got for my birthday a Retron 5, so I've actually been playing a whole bunch of old school games. There's a Game Boy slot on the front, so I've been playing the Pokemon trading card game on the big screen television.
Oh shit!
Oh
Yeah.
man, I remember that game.
It's super cool. But yeah, the old Retrons were kind of garbage. This newest one that I've put out, pretty good. Definitely recommend it. Also playing through Cuphead, not as hard as like you would expect. It's hard, but it's fair. Like if you screw up, it's definitely on you. The game is not cheating you out of a victory. So it's super fun though. But that's been my.
The tutorial is like super hard though.
Yeah, I was playing a little bit of the Pokemon TCG during the summer because it was just a good game to like pick up and put down and. I had the Charmander and Friends deck, and there was a time where I took Charmander and his evolutions out because they just needed too much. I leaned a lot on Ponyta, because Ponyta, double colorless, you're dead, you're dead, you're dead, you're dead.
Yep. I'm running right now I guess fighting. It's rock and fighting and ground deck for the most part because Hitmonchan is like the best fucking thing, and it's a single stager, so you don't need to evolve him. You just put him out and just start beating people to death by turn 2.
My deck is Mono Fire, and I use that Mono Fire deck to beat everyone except, you won't believe this, the Water Gym.
Oh, wow. Surprising.
Yeah, so I had to make a grass and something else deck to do that. And then I have a deck that's just in theory right now, because I don't have enough electrical Pokemon or energy, but it's called Zapdos! The fucking game, it lets you choose between the fire deck, the grass deck, and the water deck, but no matter which you choose, you always have certain cards, and one of them is Zapdos!
Yeah.
So I want to build a deck around Zapdos.
Fair enough. I can't really fault you for that in the slightest. But other than that, in the hiatus, the only thing that I've really been doing is we buckled down on the visual novel, and we're probably 70% done with plotting, and then it will just be writing and art, and then we will have like a game to put together, and that's kind of really weird to think about.
Yeah, someone in rpgmg finishing a game.
Yeah. Oof. Oof.
No, it's still within context because like it's not on RPG Maker, so.
Well, that's true, but it is still a game. I mean, we have a game dev tag on this, I'm pretty sure, so it still counts.
Well, if we're going to go down that road while we were on hiatus, I thought of a combat system for a game that I will probably never, ever actually try to physically make.
Excellent.
All right.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Yeah, so what's made your life awful lately, I guess?
I mean, it sounds awful because, like, you guys were talking earlier and it sounded awful, so.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And, like, what did I do in the hiatus? I played a billion years of Metal Gear Solid 5, so. Monster Hunter Stories, that was pretty good. That was recent. And, geez, what the fuck else did I play? What was that rhythm game I kept talking about earlier? The Hatsune Miku one, the Vocaloid one, whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that. It's one of those. It's the Project Diva ones. It's like, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Those are fun. Watch a friend play those. I have no rhythm, so I cannot play those games. Like that and Parappa the Rappa and Space Channel 5. Just I can't. Like I literally cannot because I'm so bad.
Oh yeah. Other than that, Puyo Puyo Tetris. That's pretty good with friends.
Nice.
Puyo Puyo is way more fun than Tetris, though.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, they have their perks, both of them.
I guess. I don't know. I've played against my friends, and I rarely lose when I'm Puyoing. I lose more often when I which is weird because I'm actually really good at Tetris. But for some reason, it's probably because when I play Tetris, I don't like go for the Tetrises, Tetros. I just do like 1 and 2 line combos, which doesn't really like win you anything in that. But in Puyo Puyo, you just like set up combos and then knock everything down, and then you win.
Yeah, it's a different mindset for each of them. Really.
Yeah.
Yeah, the meta there is, as Tetris, you have to get a Tetris as fast as possible so that you disrupt the Puyo Puyo player.
Yep.
Yeah. Say that 3 times. Disrupt the Puyo Puyo player. Anyway, we're here to talk about an RPG Maker game. for Halloween, we reviewed a spooky one. We had a poll go up on rpgmg, and with the top number of votes, Yume Nikki emerged the victor. So that is what we will be discussing today. According to Wikipedia, Yume Nikki is a surrealistic adventure game by indie Japanese developer Kikiyama. It was made in RPG Maker 2003, and it originally came out in June of 2004, but it got updated over the years, and its current release essentially happened in October 2007. You play as a little girl named Madatsuki, and you travel through spooky dreamlands with all sorts of strange imagery.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds about right.
For the longest time, people didn't think that there was a goal or an end to the game, and this game really thrived on its intrigue and the community it built, because everyone's experience with Yume Nikki was different, so everyone found different things and could combine them different ways, and eventually an ending was found. We kind of had a similar thing going on here. So Robyn is our grizzled veteran. He beat the game a long time ago, and he came back to it to refresh his brain. Red Mage and I were 90s kids, so we went the edgy 90s kids route. I have my dream journal right here. I wrote down everything I saw and everything I was doing. And Deldris is a dirty, rotten cheater who used a guide.
I'd like to point out two things about this. First of all, I gave it an honest chance, but what the fuck? I'm not surprised it took a community of people to beat this, first of all, like feds. Second of all, I was born in the 90s.
But did you really live in the 90s?
Yeah, I was alive.
What is your opinion of the Backstreet Boys?
Pretty good, honestly. There was a group that came on America's Got Talent, actually, this last year, who were trying to be the next big boy band since One Direction is gone now. And I could tell that Backstreet Boys was like their big inspiration, and it was great.
What was it?
What?
What was the band?
They were called Five Alive.
Wow.
The name needs work, but their group is fantastic.
Okay. But yeah, no, I was gonna say, I kept my notes are probably not quite as detailed, mostly because I literally only played this game while I was at work. So I had my laptop set up. I had one earbud in one ear. I have my headset on the other ear, so I'm talking to people while I'm listening and playing this game. So I didn't get quite as in depth and really surrounded by the theme and everything. But I will say this game has a kickin' soundtrack, and I will probably just put it on my playlist because it is just surreal and relaxing as fuck.
Yeah, I agree on the soundtrack. It's simple, but oddly captivating. It fits the atmosphere pretty well, and I think it's one of the strongest points of the game, to be honest, besides the whole exploration and mystery.
Yeah, definitely.
I found it largely forgettable, but I think that may be the point, because a lot of it's atmospheric, so even if you tune it out, it doesn't grate on your nerves, because pop songs like the Backstreet Boys are very catchy, so they will always work their way back into your ear, but oftentimes I tuned out the sound, but I didn't mind that it was there. It also doesn't help that I spent my first 8 hours of the game without, bicycle, so I had to hear her fucking pitter-patter of her stupid shoes.
Yep. Bop, 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 bop.
I don't know. I really like the footstep noise.
I think it's interesting. I don't really like it.
It sounds so unnatural. I don't expect shoes to make that noise on the kind of ground that it looks like.
Well, you don't expect shoes to make that noise on an infinite black void, really?
Yeah.
So how many infinite black voids have you walked on? I'm curious now.
Well, we haven't gotten to the our personal dream segment yet, so I'll save that for later.
All right.
Oh boy.
Foreshadowing.
With the soundtrack, the one music I remember is the flute room. That was lit.
Oh, man.
I remember getting the flute. I don't remember the flute room.
I remember the flute room only because the room right before it, they let you change the theme of your menu. And I'm like, is this the only place?
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, that
Yes, that was a good theme.
Yeah, because after
I
all
do
the,
remember.
the dark, heavy atmospheric stuff, you're like, "Doo, doo, 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 doo."
Right? I was like, can I just chill with this guy for a bit, or?
Yeah, and my favorite thing is like the stuff you play on the flute is I think in the same key and BPM as him. So like if you press the flute thing, you're playing along with him.
Yeah, by the way, I didn't realize you could press 1 to like do a thing for like most of my time playing this game. So once I figured that out, that like was a whole game changer all on its own.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow. And this is why this is a community game.
See, like, I took the instructions effect, and I wrote everything on the first page, and then I have 9, wake up, and then I have an arrow, and it says important.
Yeah, I mean, I figured out, I mean, the egg thing was in there too, which I kind of messed around with. I was trying to like figure out if there was like something more to it, but apparently that's like related to the ending, so I didn't really do much with it, and then, I'm trying to remember. I think I was actually like looking at like one of the worlds I was in on the wiki just to like try and figure out if I'd missed something. And then there's like, yeah, you can use 1 to activate the effect of this thing, and I was like, what?
I actually
what?
I actually managed to figure that one out on my own through deductive reasoning. So I noticed that 9 did something and 5 did something, and I was like, well, that seems like an odd set of keys to have do things. I was like, I wonder if any of the other numbers do things. So since 5 is 4 down from 9, I hit the 1 key, and yeah, what did I have equipped at the time? Oh, shoot. Oh, I had the hand eye thing.
Mm.
So it's just, that one, it brings you back to the main room with all the doors.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, I guess those do things.
Yeah, Metamod, I found that second, and I was so glad I did.
Yeah, it's super handy.
I found it first, but I would have much preferred to find the bike or witch at some point.
Yeah, freaking, I only found Bike after Pinkuboa from Tumblr. She's a nice gal. We share a Discord server, and I'm like, oh my god, I have 12 effects, and I'm so burnt out on this game. I am sick of walking. I am sick of her shoes. And Pink is like, do you have the bike yet? There's a bike? Yeah, it's in Graffiti World. Where the fuck is Graffiti World? I will go on Orbitz right now and buy a ticket to fucking Graffiti World because I need a fucking bike.
She called that Graffiti World? I always thought it was like Music Tile World. Because when you step on the little symbols on the ground, they make a note.
They do, yeah.
Oh,
technically, though,
world.
the wiki has like named everything, and that's like the unofficial official name for that is Graffiti World.
Yeah,
I see. Into that world, I hated that world because like I couldn't hear the footsteps properly at all. Like I step on a thing, it's a weird sound, and I'm like, ugh, I don't want to step on those.
Yeah,
Funny
that was
enough,
pretty
I
much the
found
world.
the bathroom there too.
I also found that bathroom. I found the bathroom in there, but not the fucking bike.
Yeah, I'm like, what the fuck? There's a bathroom here. Is there something in here? Nope, it's just a bathroom.
Yeah, as far as I could tell, the bathroom does nothing. It's just a bathroom. You go in for a minute, and then you just come out, and that's it.
Yeah, there's also the male bathroom in the block world. But what I was wondering, because this game has all these details, when I was a little kid and I had a dream, if I used the bathroom in a dream, I think you know where this is going.
Yeah.
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 I was wondering if that was going to happen to Madatsky, and it didn't. And I'm happy for her.
I hope somehow the developer like listens to this and is like, "That's a good idea."
I'm gonna take that idea and run with it.
Like we're gonna see like update 0.11 tomorrow or something.
Patch notes. Shout out to the RPG Maker General podcast for this fantastic idea. Madaske will now pee yourself if you use the bathroom in the dream world.
Congratulations, you sick fucks. Oh god.
Also, shout out to the Backstreet Boys.
Oh my god. Speaking of like naming worlds, like I didn't call it Graffiti World either, but because Pink told me it was Graffiti World and I heard that before I saw it, it's Graffiti World to me now. But also the door with like the flashing lights on it in the upper right.
Mm-hmm.
Robyn calls that the land of Aztec and neon. I call it the disco.
The official name is Neon World.
I call it Neon World because, one, it's all neon, and second of all, you get the neon effect in there.
Well, I didn't find it.
Oh, dude, I'm so glad, because, like, I went the back way, either through, like, Candle World or Eyes World, and, like, there's a back way with, like, a bunch of, like, checkered purple tiles, and you go through there, and then you come out, and there's, like, Disco Nazu, or Neon Nasu. He's like right there, next to the door. And I talked to him and I got neon. And then I go around the rest of the world and I'm like, oh my god, I'm going to get eye cancer if I'm here too long. So I meditated out.
There's a lot in here. I mean, just from I guess, not even just a huge... I don't know, like, there's so much to the game. There's so many very small little details they put in that it really helps the overall production value for everything. A lot of it probably wasn't really all that hard to make, I'm assuming, because from the developer end, it's basically just take a flat plane, make it scroll both vertically and horizontally, throw a panorama thing that moves in the background, and then throw some shit on the ground. And you've got a map. But the way that, like, just all of the little things that come with it, and the way, like, there's so many little things in this game that are really cool.
Yeah, that's true. I will say though, like, the diagonal tiles, they fucked me up super hard. I don't know why.
Yeah. No, same. That was probably my biggest experience with it, is just being able to kind of explore and just everything having its own feeling and everything. And I kind of enjoyed the first couple times, just like wandering around, getting lost, not knowing where the hell I was or what I was doing. But then getting like caught and captured and being sent to like the prison, and you got to wake up and go back in and redo it all over again. That kind of got a little frustrating.
Prison. Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
To Yume Nikki's credit, you weren't put in those situations very often. So if you're, say, like, what the hell world was it? Oh, that was with the Neon Warriors, like the dudes with the shields all standing around.
Mm-hmm.
You can find a door there that takes you to, like, a maze made out of static. It's like invisible walls. And then you end up in, like, NES World. And NES World, I have, like, a giant fucking map for, because there's, like, staircases and doors, and it all zigzags and interconnects, and... If I got caught in that area, I'd be pretty pissed. And they know that. Yeah. So there's no way to get caught there. Like, I spent the better part of an hour wandering through a maze with invisible walls and then walking through a giant maze of stairs to get Demon. And if I, and also I had Metamod too. So I could just, leave when I got it. Or, even if I didn't have Metamod, I could still press 9 to wake up so I wouldn't have to backtrack.
That's something that kind of bothered me. Obviously I didn't see everything, and who knows, maybe people are still discovering things. But yes, I am a dirty cheater and used a guide, which means I also looked at all of the stuff that I missed. And it seems like a lot of the effects don't really have a purpose.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, like, and even the ones that do, like Metamod, like, you could just press 9 and wake up and then go back to sleep, and okay, fine, it might take an extra 10 seconds of your time, but... it's not really a big deal.
Yeah, that is a fair point. I mean, it's still helpful because, again, it saves like 10 or 15 seconds, which is, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, not really that important. I was actually kind of wondering, too, and, I didn't see anything because I also read a lot of stuff on the wiki afterwards when I was done, and just kind of gave up because I didn't have enough time to keep playing. Just wondering, like, if you relied too much on Metamod, if like something would happen, or because there's a lot of things that have like a small chance to like occur if you do it, like the spaceship. So I didn't know if Metamod itself had anything that would happen, but nothing ever did for me. So
speaking of small chances of things, when I first started the game, I was really thrown off by starting the game. I struggled to even start the game. So basically, I read the instructions and I was like, okay, so go to sleep in my bed. Got it. So I get into bed and you wake up in your apartment and it confused the shit out of me. So I was like, okay, am I in the dream world? And I did not notice that there is a door in your room to go through. So I just walked back into my room and was like, okay. I was like, my game console's gone. And I was like, do I just go back to sleep? So I went back into my bed and totally got that completely random chance thing where you wake up on that staircase with all the hands. And I was like, what the fuck is this? So yeah, I made my way down the stairs, but you get blocked by fire unless you have, I think there's 2 effects that can get you through there. So I was like, okay, this is weird. I went back up the stairs, and yeah, then you wake up from that, and then I finally noticed the door, and I was like, oh, so you can imagine later when I was like trying to get that event to happen on purpose.
Yeah.
I was so pissed.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, that pretty much describes my my experience with the spaceship, because Cody had talked about it, and he's like, I made it to the spaceship, but I didn't get it to crash. And I'm like, how do you crash the spaceship? So I made it there, and then I couldn't find anything to do. So I was like, oh, there's a bed here. And then like the first time I laid in the bed, the spaceship crashed.
You motherfucker!
So
I was there for like 10 minutes, and I'm like, okay, I can interact with this dude, I can play the piano, I can go to bed, and fuck it, wake up.
Granted, I didn't have the midget effect, so because you need that to actually get anywhere after you crash, because you land on Mars and there's like a hole that you're too big to get into without that effect, so I wasn't able to get there, and then I was able to get back to the spaceship. So I have no idea what was actually in the little diddly-doo in Mars. So. Oh
my god. Speaking of the effects and how they're used, because again, I didn't look at guides. I have what the Discord told me and what Robyn told me, but in the block world, like the upper leftish kind of door, so there's like a hat and scarf, and I got hat and scarf. I press 1 and it gives me like a little toot, like a sound effect, like it doesn't do anything. And I'm like, okay, so maybe this doesn't have an effect, whatever, fine. But then I get blonde hair, and I press 1 with blonde hair, and I sit down, which is her default effect. So I'm like, okay, so hat and scarf does something. It does something, but I don't know what it is because I'm not under the right circumstances to use it yet. And then like I found a floating hat and scarf, and they teleported me, and I'm like, okay, cool. And then like teleported me up on top of something, and then I could talk to him again to teleport back down, and then I couldn't find him again. So like, okay, well how the fuck do I teleport? How am I supposed to teleport on my own? I've got the hat and scarf. Let me fucking teleport.
Yeah, I actually came at that the other way. I came from some other world into the top part, talked to him, got teleported down, then found the hat and scarf afterward. So I thought it's like, oh, you see the hat and scarf, you go through the event, you get the hat and scarf. That's kind of cool that's how that's supposed to play out. And then Cody does it in reverse. So who the fuck knows?
I like the idea of like your character wearing the hat and scarf and looking at that hat and scarf after teleporting. And like just taking off their hat and scarf and looking at it, and then looking back at the floating one and being like, huh.
Yeah,
oh god.
The same thing happened with Demon. Like I got the effect Demon, and every time I press 1, beep boop. Okay, but I still don't know what Demon does.
Yeah, I have no idea. I got it too. Even though to me it looks a little bit more like an Oni than a demon, but we'll leave that alone. But yeah, I have no idea what it does. I could not get it to be used anywhere. I think it's used in one of the endings from what I was watching, but I could not tell you what it actually does.
And that is like some King's Quest level of specificity there,
Yeah.
Like, and that's why you need a community to beat that game. I can only imagine if, like, King's Quest V got released today. Like, help, I got tied up in the cellar and I don't know how to get out. Well, did you save the mouse? What do you mean? Well, a cat attacks the mouse, and if you don't shoo him away, then the mouse dies and he doesn't save you. And you only see this event once, and if you save after it, your game is actually doomed.
Yep. Not only that, it's available for a good 15, like 10 seconds, maybe, like at most. So if you are not also quick on the draw, you also can just miss it. Fuck that game.
Yeah, pretty much. Isn't that the one where, like, you can die, like, what the fuck was it, from a cabbage or something?
Yeah, you can die from pretty much anything in King's Quest, I'm pretty sure.
Alright.
Well, one thing that pissed me off is, like, just one more thing about King's Quest V, because goddamn, that game activated my almonds as a kid. The game will just fuck with you. It'll fuck with you. There's a place that sells pies, alright? Pies are 1 silver coin. Until you find a silver coin. And then there are 5 silver coins. And then if you have 5 silver coins, now the pie is a gold coin. Or here's the best part. So pie is 1 silver coin. I do something different and find a gold coin. I still can't buy the fucking pie.
Sorry, we don't have change for a gold coin.
Can you just give me 10 pies? Can you please give me 10 pies? Give me 10 pies.
I'm sorry, sir. It's 1 pie per customer.
10 pie, notice me.
Okay, so something I did note down that I did want to kind of talk about. I don't know how much there is to it, but there was like this really weird transition with some of the levels, because you had stuff like the monochrome in the spaceship that kind of looked like hand drawn. Because the monochrome, I think, was like the desert, if I remember right. And everything felt like it was hand drawn and that kind of thing. Then you've got like the NES world. But then on Mars, I don't know if anybody else got to Mars besides me, it's like it's like a photo of Mars. It's not like tiled or anything. So I'm just trying to, I don't know if there's any kind of like, I don't know, something between like the different realisms of the background.
I know that, like, the white door, I was super, like, turned off by the white door, because it just has a bunch of painted blocks in it. And then you get blonde hair, which is useless. So,
yeah.
Like, pretty door, but no function. And then I wrote in my diary metaphor for blondes, ? Anyway. I liked the picture on the painted blocks. Like, that seemed really ornate. And then you have, like, the simpler kind of stuff. Every world kind of had its own little unique gimmick. Like, the forest world had, like, the default tree assets, I assume, from RPG Maker 2003. And then you had the painted blocks, which were, like, one really cool image that they kind of messed with and changed the colors on. And then you have, like, the dark world, which is literally just, like, pitch black unless you have lamp. And it's got, like, these designs that light up on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have, like, Block World, which is geometric, and then you have the Disco, which is fucking neon everywhere.
And murder on your eyeballs.
Fire at the disco!
But, yeah, like, everything having its own thing. I don't know, because I think one of the things about Yume Nikki is you probably can read more into it than is actually there. Possibly. I noticed, especially it was mostly when I got to Mars, because like I hit that and like I said, it is a photo of Mars. That is the background. And I was like, what the hell is this? This is not even like a game anymore. I'm just walking on the surface of Mars. And then later I ended up in the desert, which like I said, everything is hand drawn. I'm like, is there something here that I'm like is you know, going to Mars like more realistic? Is this something that is like happening? And then this monochrome black and white hand drawn thing, is that so far beyond Dream World that it's like breaking down into you know? But I don't know if there's anything there, if it's literally just the maker person just being like, oh, this is cool, I like this, and that's the end of it.
It's like a metaphor for your psyche, man.
Yeah, I think they just did that for, not exactly shock value, but to make you more unsettled. You know, everything in the game has its own flavor of unsettling. Especially like in the forest world. If you go through the gate in the middle of nowhere, if you go there, there's the girl that chases you, there's also these big-ass faces, and you can walk on them, and they squeak.
That's true. They do squeak. And there's the red block in there that transports you to this red and black nightmare world.
Speaking of the forest world, what's the deal with the ghosts?
I have no idea.
Like, does anyone know? That was the first one I walked into, because I just walked into the room with all the doors, and I was like, okay, well, let's start here, and it's the closest one on the left side. So I walk in, and my initial reaction, hold on, I have a note here. Let's see. It was, it was, what the fuck? Like, I was like,
that sounds about right.
I was not prepared for what I was about to embark upon. Even after experiencing the hand staircase, I wasn't ready. But
okay, I may have not gone to this door. What the fuck did he see?
The forest world.
I might have not gone in there recently.
Oh? Like, you just didn't explore one of the worlds?
I mean, like, cause here's the thing. When Cody asked me to test the thing, he said like aim for 6 effects. So that's all I looked for.
See, I was under the...
And I was like doing it clockwise. So yeah, because I'm a really boring person. Shoot me.
I was under the assumption that each door had one effect. So Robyn's like, how far do we have to get in the game? I already beat it like 10 years ago. And I'm like, whatever, just 6 doors, 6 effects, whatever. I don't give a shit. Just have enough to talk about.
Then after getting those 6, I'm like, yup, still as weird as I remember it.
Game is still fucked. But yeah, no, the weird ghost guys, like I would always, like when I was talking to them, I went in one time and I found the gate, and so, but I tried to make sure beforehand that the ghosts were like harmonized so that they were like exactly like moving at the same wiggly motion above my head. But then the second time I went in, because I got caught, and so then I had to wake up and go back in, and I couldn't find the gate, and they weren't like synchronized. So then I was like just absolutely convinced that they had to be synchronized before I could find the gate. And then I synchronized them, and then I found the gate again. That just reinforced it until I like went back in some other time, and I found it by accident. I was like, oh, well, I'm just stupid then, I guess.
I call that area the red maze. Like, I don't have a better name for it because it's a maze and it's red.
Yeah.
Also, I when I was talking to Pink in the Discord, some other people chimed in because the first effect I found was Witch, and
I never even found Witch.
Oh man! So here's what happens: in the red maze, there's another like gate that you can go through. It's like the forest gate, but it's like blue, I think.
Okay.
So you go through that blue gate, and then you end up in like some woods. And if you move one screen over, like it's really dark, and you have these cartoon eyes like looking at you from the darkness of the forest, and it's really fucking hard to see. But I wandered through there, and I made it to a train car in the middle of the woods.
Okay.
Yeah, we don't know how it got there, but I go in it, right? And as soon as I go in it, like, I see that, like, we're bouncing and the background's moving, and I'm like, oh, so we must be going somewhere. And then there's, like, a blob with one eye and a sick hairdo on the bench. So I sit next to him, and I start writing in my diary everything that's going on, right?
Okay.
I get out of the train car, and we've arrived at our destination. Yeah, and it's this fucking, like, it's a lakeside with, like, all these girls, and you can't talk to them. They're just, like, standing there, and they're kind of like the girl from The Ring. They just have, like, a dress, and their hair's blowing by this lake. I'm like, okay, you're all fucking creepy. And then I cross a bridge, and I find a tree, and, like, I talk to the tree, and I get Witch, and I get to ride around on a little broom, and it's cute. So I went from forest, red maze, dark-ass forest, train car, more forest, Witch. And so I make my way back to the train car, and I walk in, and there's different things there. Cool. Make a quick note, walk back out. We're still at the lake. Like, why are we still at the lake? And then I think about it for a second. I'm like, I spent a long time in that train car on the way here. So I go back into the train car, and I give it a good 2 or 3 minutes, and I walk out, and I'm back at the dark woods again.
That's interesting. I never at any point found that, because I, like, when I got to the red maze, I always came in from the forest, and so when I wandered around, I mostly what did I end up finding there? Because I got caught a couple times. I think I normally ended up on one of the footprint paths. Yeah, the footprint paths, and then it's got like the really weird things that have like no head but the huge engorged belly that's got the mouth on it.
Oh, I call them slackers.
Oh, okay. So yeah, there's just a path with a bunch of slackers then, I guess, and then the big.
I only saw one.
Yeah, it's on one of the paths. There's just like a whole. Hang on, let me find a picture.
Yeah, I know what it is. I've seen it, but I've only seen like one. You've seen multiple of these?
Yeah, hang on.
I've never seen one of them.
And it's also got the dudes that are there on the right, which are like, I don't know. I called them squid heads. I have no idea what they actually are, but there's like a little colored bump on the path near each of them, and you can talk to it, and then they spit blood. I did that for like a good 10 minutes, just seeing if something would happen. Nothing happened.
Yeah, I have that in my notes here, because I was at that footprint path. So in the red maze, it's by a certain thing, and I put this on Twitter, and I wrote "damn Mooner Knights" because there's like a section of squares that's carved out that looks like a Mooner Knight near that warp.
Okay.
But yeah, let's call them slackers. Okay, and then I found my way back to the eye room because I found that through the candle room, and then the large aquatic creatures here each have a bump near the surface. Checking it acts as if I slammed it with a hammer. The creatures wince in pain.
Yeah, and so I was convinced again, with this fucking forest just, I guess, tricking me that it was just apparently it was just a point where you can just get back to the eyeball world, and I never like got to explore the rest of hell and never really thought about it. Did anybody else find it was like a jungle-y area. There's like this thing. I guess it's not really a jungle. I don't know, it's like a jungle desert, I guess. But there's like this big like Aztec block, and you go and you look into it, and there's just this huge like fucking just, I don't even know what it is. It looks like a monkey just flashing a bunch of different colors, raving in front of me. Okay, all right, hang on. I will find a video and I will share with you this rave monkey.
Like, I think I know what you're talking about. The area, is it like a deserty kind of area,
yeah,
but has like they're kind of like vines coming out of the ground?
Yeah.
I know that area, but I didn't find like a raving monkey.
Okay. Yeah, okay. It's actually called the Aztec rave monkey. All right, so I'm not There's a YouTube video, and everybody can watch the Aztec rave monkey. And I found that. And I left it up.
It's kind of like an Aztec raving monkey. Oh, it's called the Aztec rave monkey.
Wow, if this is not nightmare fuel, I don't know what is.
Yeah, I just left it up while I was on a call once because I was like waiting for something to happen or for it to like turn off or for it to like be a transition, and it wasn't. So I was like staring at that for a good like 3 minutes on a call, and then I Snapchatted that to all my friends, and I was like, Yume Nikki, everybody, this is the game.
We should have like the rude sandstorm playing in the background.
In one of the related videos, if you click on Red Mage's link, there is somebody who made a remix of the Aztec rave monkey.
Hell yeah.
Nice.
Anything else y'all want to share?
I'm thinking if there's anything else major that I came across that I ended up finding the knife, but I didn't get a chance to use it. That apparently just lets you like kill people, I guess.
Yeah, I was actually just about to bring that up. That I appreciate that you can stab pretty much any NPC to death.
Yeah, I never. I found it, and then like I'd stopped working for the day, and then I never got a chance to go and keep playing. So I never got to use the knife to any sort of advantage. I just kind of didn't instead, I guess.
So I totally got the lamp, which lets you explore, I don't know what it's called, but I'm calling it the Dark World. But, so the Dark World was like one of the first doors that I'd went in. After I went in the forest, I went into Eyeball World for a little bit, and then I left there, and then I went into Dark World. But I was like, well, I can't find anything. So I wandered around briefly before I was like, okay, I can't see anything. I don't know what the point of this is. Maybe I need something. I'll come back later. And then I left, and I got the lamp, but completely had forgotten about the Dark World and went and explored it. I would see the door occasionally and be like, I've already been in there. I guess I'll check other stuff.
Oh, God.
I'm not a good note taker.
Something I wanted to bring up, because I didn't get to use the knife either. It was the last door I entered, and I'm like, okay, lamp, and then I walked around, oh, there's a knife here. There's probably nothing else here. Okay, goodbye. And every, creature I found, everything that was, human-sized, the blobs on the train, and a lot of the ghosts, and all this other stuff, they all fucking had hair. And then I found, blonde hair was on, this blob with a mouth, and, it had,
Yep.
some it had a weird color on top of it. Does it have, slime or something on top of it? No, it's its blonde hair. Duh. And then, when I slept in my bed again on the way to Mars, I found poop hair.
I did not find the poop hair. Did you find just the long hair? It's still brown, but it's long.
It's literally blonde hair, but just your hair color.
It's a little less poofy and voluminous. Doesn't have as much volume there. I'll say it an easier way.
Voluminous.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
Maybe. But I ended up walking around mostly just with either the flute or the frog head most of the time, just for amusement's sake. That's pretty much all. And until I found the bike, and then I didn't use anything else ever.
I walked around with Neon because so it's always just a party, right?
Why do you hate yourself, dude?
I'm playing through Yume Nikki. I mean, what else am I supposed to do besides make it as much of hating myself as possible? I wish that if you put on Neon and you walked into a room with NPCs in it, that they'd start dancing or something.
That'd be fantastic.
That would be pretty good. But no, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I ran into that was kind of that's really kind of weird and interesting, but I don't think so.
Oh, I think I have one.
Okay.
All right. So in Snow World, this is probably called Snow World because it's snow in there. There's these igloos in are all around there occasionally. I guess I came across one which was a village or something, and you could go in the igloos and they're mostly empty except for one. In the one igloo, I found a human sleeping. Yeah, and she's sleeping. I mean, he or she, I don't know, but it's a human and it's sleeping. There's no other creature like this anywhere else. What the fuck is this?
Yeah, I assumed it was a human girl that was sleeping, and I couldn't wake her up for shit. I even had flute. I had flute at the time. Toot, toot, bitch.
It's not the Snorlax, so. Yeah, anyway, I found that super interesting, even though, nothing came of it.
Did you also find the igloo by itself with the pink pool?
Yeah, I think I found that, and, but I didn't know anything else about it, so I just left.
Yeah, the pink pool was really underwhelming for me, but it's probably like sleeping in your own bed. It's one of those random, or the spaceship, it's a random chance thing that I just couldn't be arsed, because if you dive into the pink pool, you end up in it, and you are on the ground, but then if you talk to a balloon, you get warped into the water, and then you get, you move really slowly. And if you wander around enough, you find another balloon that warps you back onto another island, and there's a house. It's just a normal-ass house, and there's a girl with blonde hair and, a green shirt, and she has, her desk and her bed and her pictures, and the only thing you can do is flick her lights on and off. That's all you can do.
Oh, so this house.
Oh.
All the way through Snow World, all the way to the pink pool, all the way through this slow-ass water, to her house, to flick her lights on and off.
So I did look up a lot of the side stuff that I had missed after I was done, and that absolutely is a thing. And to trigger the event, you need to flick the lights off and on, but it's random if it happens or not.
Oh.
You know what this light is, though, Cody, right?
Do you remember the part where I said I wasn't using a guide?
All right, you said you were looking for Uboa. That's the Uboa house.
Ah.
Allegedly, you need to kill the girl at least once before the event will happen.
Yeah, I never saw either of the events for her or her sister, or the weird thing that's with her, or whatever it is. Did not see anything.
So, something I did find, though, I found a vending machine in the red maze. It was just a vending machine. I walked up to it and nothing happened.
Yeah.
There was a vending machine.
Yeah, there's at least one other one that I found too. I don't remember where, but I also came across another vending machine, and I was like, is there money? Do I have to get an effect that turns my head into a coin? I couldn't find anywhere to like do anything with it though.
When I had found it, I had the knife at the time, so I tried like stabbing the vending machine open, but it didn't work.
I found a vending machine in the rain room. Like, it's like the dark room, except there's puddles on the ground. And you go through, like, a subway tunnel, and then you show up, like, at a bus stop, and there's, like, a bench and a lamppost and a vending machine, and then there's, like, a little bit of woods behind it.
Yeah, I think that was the other one I found, too, now that you say that. I think that's what it was. I didn't write any notes for it, because I have a vending machine for the Red Hell Nightmare world, just with a question mark, because I couldn't figure out what the hell to do with it, but I forgot that other one. There was also something, too, it was in the room with all the candles. Is that the one that had, like, the lampposts here and there?
I think so. Let me check my notes here.
I thought the lamppost was, like, its own... The lamppost is in the... I don't even know what to call that world. The one that has, like... There's a lot of walls, and there's red numbers written on the ground. I thought you had to, like, go through a door, and then you go into another place with all the lamp posts, and that's where you find the lamp effect.
Yeah, lamp is in the numbers world.
Is in the numbers world, okay. Because I know there's some place, but there's, like, these lamp posts that are not active, but you can interact with them, and they turn on. So I tried to find them all in there to try to turn them all on, but nothing happened. So I didn't know if anybody else had any more success with that than I did. Because
I didn't even know you could do that.
So I fucked with this extensively. In the rain world, you can turn the lampposts on and off.
Oh, it's in the rain world. Okay, that's where it is.
And there's like 4 maybe, and I tried turning them all on, I tried turning them all off, and then I found the umbrella, and I'm like, this has been fun, goodbye. And then, in the numbers world, there's a door, and those lampposts, if you go through that door, they can't be turned on or off. But if you follow the ones that are lit up, you find lamp.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I did find the lamp. I just was wondering here, because let's see, because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lamps apparently in that world, but yeah, they don't do anything besides turn on and off. So that's shitty.
Yeah. On that note, let's transition to talking about the gameplay a bit here. So,
okay.
Yume Nikki, I feel, is like the Great Gatsby of video games. You can say it's a classic, but there are certain aspects to it that make it borderline inaccessible to a modern audience.
The walking speed.
Yeah, basically that. But also, like, early on in my adventure, I went through the forest world first, right? And I told you all, I went through, like, 4 unique areas and saw a bunch of really cool things, and, like, that was my adventure. And then the candles world was kind of underwhelming. The white door with the painted blocks was underwhelming. Rain world with the bus stop was underwhelming. And I was like, should I use a guide? Should I, do something else? And then I stuck with it, and I got more, but, like, I compared to The Great Gatsby because the first 10 chapters of Gatsby are crap. And the movie, The Great Gatsby movie, it sums this up really great because I went in with friends who wanted to see it. They were interested in seeing it. And all of us were making fun of the movie for the first hour. And then, somewhere around there, I made a joke, and they told me to shut up. And then a couple minutes later, it all clicked for me too. So we spent the first hour of this movie laughing at it, and then after the movie was over, we went to Denny's and talked about it for like 2 hours. The initial investment, I feel, is similar to Yume Nikki, where if you can handle the parts that are tedious or repetitive or just kind of boring, then you can find a lot more satisfaction and fulfillment out of it later.
Yeah, one of the big things that I think would like a more modern audience would struggle with in something like this is there's no direction at all Like and and not that Deldris is the perfect example, but at this point he missed the door in the dream world, and like because there's nothing directing you to this door. And I tried to go out it in the normal thing, and she's just kind of like nah. So like I kind of just wandered around when I went to the dream world the first time because I was like, okay. I turned on the TV, turned off the TV, and there wasn't like anything going like, here's where you go. This is what you need to do. So when I went into the door and I found the room, I was like, okay, still don't know what I'm supposed to like do here. So there's just nothing that really, and it makes it worse too with the random chance events. Because sometimes you'll go through somewhere and you'll hit a place and you're like, oh, this is really cool. So then you try to go back. Like I tried to go back to the spaceship and I just could not find out how to get back to the spaceship so I could like go through and actually do the events on Mars. So I mean, it's just, I guess it's frustrating because I want to do these things and I can't. And I get that it's supposed to be a dream and it's surreal. Not everything is always connected, but it was still very just annoying to me at times trying to go through and do this kind of thing.
Yeah, especially like with Mars and with getting Uboa, like you couldn't convince me to go all the way back through Snow World to find the pink pool, to find the balloons, to find the blonde girl, when I have other things I could be doing.
Right.
Well, I guess it's time for the modern game perspective then. Okay, so yeah, I've played other games that lack direction on the whole, like, I guess The Witness comes to mind, where they have direction in that you start in a secluded area and you have to figure out to solve puzzles to get out, and that's supposed to tell you that this is a game about solving puzzles to make things happen. But Yume Nikki goes, like, completely to the end of the spectrum with no direction, in that the game starts with instructions on how to move, how to go to sleep, and wake up, and that's it. Like, yep. Those are your directions. And yeah, I missed the door. I did it. Anyway. But there's my thing about this game. Okay, first of all, disclaimer. This isn't really my cup of tea for types of games. So I'm probably biased, but I will try to leave that out as much as possible. It's a game that to me feels like it's filled with a lot of things, but also filled with basically nothing at the same time. I don't really know how else to describe it. There's stuff everywhere, but it all just feels so insignificant and pointless that it might as well just be nothing. Like the Aztec Rave Monkey. Okay, yeah, it's nightmare fuel. It's like kind of cool to look at, but as far as I can tell, like I missed it entirely, but I don't feel bad for missing it entirely because it's just a seizure-inducing monkey.
I agree with you in that sense because, like blonde hair, it serves no real function, and because you as the player know that it serves no function, you can also feel comfortable using it if you want to. It's kind of like in Pokemon, you can catch whatever Pokemon you want, you're gonna beat the game. It allows you to kind of flavor the experience the way you want because it doesn't, in the end, truly affect your ability to beat the game. Right.
Yeah, I can kind of get behind that. I think I would have enjoyed this game a lot more back in like a summer vacation in high school where I just had time to kill to really like immerse myself into this kind of experience. But as it stands right now, as busy as I am with everything going on, I wasn't really able to dedicate a lot of time to it. So it kind of felt just like tedium for the most part. I mean, I thought a lot of the stuff was cool. And again, early on, for probably like the first 2-3 hours I put into the game, I was really enraptured with everything because I was like, oh, this is so cool. There's so many cool things to find here. This is really neat. But like once I ran out of like doors to go in, and then I had to like start retracing my steps to find other stuff, it just got really boring very, very quickly.
God, I was going to add on to that. Hold on. Something that I would bring up is like, we are all adults. We're all, we're not in high school anymore, I'll put it that way. When this game got released in 2004, the internet wasn't as huge as it is now. So generally what would happen is You would play it. You would be amazed at all the weird stuff that you could discover. You would give it to your friends. They would also be intrigued, and you would build a little community of people that were trying to figure out how the hell to play this game, because you had the time and you were all kids and you could do that. But I don't think that quite works even 5 years after the fact, because you look at Minecraft, right? So Yume Nikki 2004, you play a game with no directions. Everyone as a community tries to figure it out. You play Minecraft in beta with no directions. You look up the wiki.
Yeah.
I think that applies to MMOs as well, you know, because back at the turn of the millennium when I was playing like Ragnarok Online and RuneScape and those kinds of things, I didn't think about community resources. I thought about, I'm in the game, I'm going to ask people in the game where to go and what to do.
Yep.
And nowadays it's just far more efficient to have the wiki up. And
yep.
And I think that's why people that played MMOs back in the day, they yearn for those days again, because you couldn't rely on outside resources. You had to ask other people, so the community itself had to embrace the community, and you were all in it together in a sense.
Yeah, I was actually wondering, like, once we were coming up on it, I wonder if our experience may have been more interesting if we were, like, all constantly, like, had played this game together for, like, 2-3 weeks, and were sharing things, like, constantly back and forth between us. I wonder if it would have been a very different experience overall, because, like I said, I never found the witch at all. I never found this boxcar. I never found the weird, train that took me out to this island. Like, any of that, never found. None of y'all found the Aztec rave monkey, So we could have shared and like built a small, smaller version of the already, I'm sure, widespread community that is there, just based on our own experiences. And I wonder if that would have been a much better way to play this game.
It is odd how it seems like it's a single-player game that's meant to be played as a community, almost.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I totally agree with that. Like, we all played it essentially as individuals, as far as I'm aware. But
for the most part, yeah.
I think it definitely would have been interesting if we had all, like, taken a time, like, this time we're all going to get in a Skype call and just play the game together and just, each talk about things that we're doing, stuff we find and whatnot.
Yeah, that might not have been a bad way to do it, because I compared this a lot while I was playing to, because I played Lisa the First, which is like a walking simulator that came out after this one, but there was, like, in that one alone, there was much more direction. Like, there wasn't, because they still didn't, like, give you anything, but the way that the game is designed kind of, like, led you where you needed to go and what you needed to figure out. And I was able to beat that whole game on my own within just a couple hours without a guide. So coming from that, which is kind of what I expected, to this, and just being kind of cast into being like, good luck. Having, not necessarily a wiki or anything like that, but just having other people to bounce ideas off of probably would have been a better thing, and I probably shouldn't have been as quiet, I guess, as I was about it, but I started to realize, like, later on, as we're getting closer to the deadline while I'm still playing it, like, this probably would have benefited from a little more talk between us all, I think.
Yeah, that's fair. So now we know for next time. We'll hop in the DeLorean and we'll all play Yume Nikki together.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll hop in the DeLorean. I'll go back about 10 years, win the lottery, then we'll all have time to play Yume Nikki together.
There you go.
Yeah,
there
sweet.
Go.
Thanks, Cody.
Just doing my job. So you said the cursed phrase, Red Mage, and I'd like to ask all of you now. Would you consider Yume Nikki a walking simulator? And I ask this because Dear Esther was very famous when it came out, and that is my gold standard for walking simulators. You are not required to interact with anything to complete the game, except for the ladder at the end. Like, you literally can just hold W and move around a little bit, and Dear Esther is 90% complete. In Yume Nikki, there are effects. Most of them are worthless. Most of them don't accomplish anything. But there are some puzzles to solve, and there are some what I would call failure states, where you get caught and are forced to wake up. but you still technically cannot put yourself in an unwinnable situation. So, is Yume Nikki a walking simulator?
Well, I mean, how do you define a walking simulator? Like, I understand your Dear Esther analogy, but what's, like, the criteria here for a walking simulator? Because people seem to be kind of stretching exactly what a genre encompasses. Like, for example, you could take, let me think of a good example. Like, let's say you take God of War, but you slap on a level up system. Well, now it's an RPG, apparently. So, I mean, it is a lot of walking around. Your required interaction is very minimal, but I can think of a couple instances in which you would need to solve puzzles or have some other piece of information available to you in order to progress. For example, the Dark World you can't really explore without the lamp. The way I got the poop hair was going back to that staircase with the hands, and then when you walk down the stairs and walk past an elevator, there's a fire raging in front of a door. But if you equip the, I don't know how to pronounce it, it's the Winter Woman Japanese ghost thing.
Oh, the Yuki-onna?
Yuki-onna?
Yeah, if you equip that and make it snow, it puts out the fire, and you can walk past there and talk to, I think it's like a monster, or maybe it's just a bloodstain. I don't quite remember. But then they give you the poop hair. So that's not just walking, that is requiring other things and putting those things together and going to a specific place. So I don't think it's exactly quite just a walking simulator, but I'd say it's about 80% walking simulator.
Yeah, compared to something like, for example, Off, which if we play I'll be really giddy because I like that game a lot. Because you could basically strip the combat out of Off, and for the most part, very little is lost. There's a couple important ones, but that's kind of how it kind of feels, where you just kind of wander around. There are puzzles, but I would say since 90+% of the game is exploration, I would say yes, because there are puzzles there, but they're not as necessary to get an experience out of the game, I guess, because like something, again, with Off, you actually need to progress to see everything that happens, where you could play, Yume Nikki, not ever see an ending like I didn't, and still come away with it with some interesting thoughts and still go, this wasn't a total waste of time. It was fun from, the exploration end of it it just, like I said, once it got in tedium, it got a little boring, but because there's so much emphasis on walking and exploration, I would say yeah. It's still the majority of the game.
Let's see. I would consider it more like a sandbox. Like, yeah, there's no direction. There's very little to do, honestly, other than to look for the thing. But the game didn't ask you to actually look for these, did it?
No. It just said, go in your bed to fall asleep, and you press 9 to wake up.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, so it was, like, you could play this game and not find like any of the effects at all, and it'll be like, what a weird, strange, but unusual like game, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much my experience with it. Yeah,
I mean, like I still remember talking with Cody, and like he was assuming there was like one effect through every door, and then I'm like, all right, wait, no, that's not right. That doesn't sound like the correct number, especially after I went through one of the doors in the door room, went through the red maze, and then ended up out of a different door. I'm like, okay, something's up. So I looked it up. There's 24 effects, and then I told Cody, and he's like, what?
And yet you still only bothered to find 6.
Hey, that's like a fourth of the effects.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So what was your opinion, Robyn?
Is it a walking simulator, or is it not a walking simulator?
I mean, like, I consider it more a sandbox, so that's a lot higher on my rating compared to a walking simulator. So, yeah.
Okay, so not a sandbox, or not a set walking simulator, but more sandbox. Okay.
It could be a biking simulator.
No, it can't, because I didn't get the bike until like the last little bit of the game.
Well, since Cody found Witch first, I guess his was a broomstick simulator.
Yeah. It was.
I'm trying to remember what the first thing Oh yeah, I remember the first thing I got. Severed head. Does that actually do anything?
You turn into a severed head.
Yeah, I am. Does it do anything else?
You can't pinch your cheek because you have no arms.
Yeah, from what I was looking and reading, basically the only use it really has is there's some like scenes where you want to be the severed head so you can see what is behind Madutsuki, but that's really about it.
Wow. It really is like a useless power.
So is blonde hair. Like, blonde hair literally doesn't even have its own effect. You just sit down.
Yeah.
You can't even sit down as severed head.
You're already sitting.
Yeah, to be fair, I played most of the game with blonde hair just because it was more interesting and floofier to look at than her normal just pigtails.
Yeah, I'm not ready to call Yume Nikki a walking simulator simply because of the ways that it stretches what could be a much more boring game. Because, again, following the Dear Esther analogy, Dear Esther only requires you to press W and have one interaction to win the game. Whereas, with Yume Nikki, there's not even an expressed goal. Like, just playing the game is what they want you to do. The ending is there because games have to have an ending. There's also some elements, like with the chasing girls and the puzzle solving. I feel that it has more than enough game in it to qualify as a game proper. Even though there's no such thing as a game over in Yume Nikki, there's also, the LucasArts adventure games from back in the 90s?
Mm-hmm.
I beat Day of the Tentacle back in the day, and the only time you could truly lose the game is if you were at the end when you got shrunk by the mad scientist and you could be, squished. Every other time in the game, for the first, 4 or 5 hours, it is impossible to lose. You just get to keep trying more things on other things. And technically, the LucasArts adventure games have less gameplay than Yume Nikki.
That's fair.
Thick burns.
There are games without endings.
Well, yeah, Galaga. I mean, I love Galaga.
Overwatch?
That ends when you die.
Yeah, the game ends. There's an ending to that section of it. It also ends when you uninstall it.
Well, okay, that's like saying that your life has an end at any point because you can just kill yourself.
Well, yeah.
It's true.
I mean, that's my point. He's not technically saying anything incorrect, but
Strange game. The only winning move is not to play.
You never really win. You just get a little better every time.
That's like reincarnation right there. You die, you come back. A little bit better. Oh, I'm a fish. Last time I was an earthworm. I'll call it an improvement. Alright, so we're going to take this last bit here to talk about dreams. Did you guys have, what would your dream world look like? Or did you have an interesting dream that you wanted to share with the class?
Can I go first? My dreams are notorious for being kind of fucked up.
Please.
Okay, so this is one of my favorite ones that I like to recall.
Oh, shit.
So... This was probably about 5 years ago or so I had this dream because it took place at my first job. One of my coworkers I remember had recently told me about his paintball excursions because he has friends who were actually in the military, so they do hardcore paintball.
Mm.
And he told me about some of his excursions and I was like, "Oh, hey, yeah, that all sounds cool." Well, then I had a dream shortly thereafter where our place of work got held up by a group of people, which was weird because we just sorted mail. Yeah, we sorted mostly Amazon purchases. So I guess there was some stuff, but moving on. So me and that guy happened to be off in the side of the warehouse, so they didn't see us initially. So they had shut off all the lights. They were holding everybody in a corner or whatever. They had guns and all that. So me and him devised this battle plan to save everybody. I don't remember the plan in exact detail, but I remember it being unnecessarily convoluted. So then it just fast forwards a bit where it is now we have basically saved everybody there's a few of the guys that are just kind of laying on the ground in submission, and there's a guy in front of me who's like on his knees, and I'm holding like a 2x4 with a bunch of nails sticking out of it.
Oh, no.
He's like in front of me, literally begging for his life, and I just look him dead in the eyes, and I say, "Does this look like the face of mercy to you?" And then I smash his face in and kill him.
Oh my god.
And then I woke up.
I think we all belong in an institution. And that was before we played this stupid game.
Yeah, probably, but we'll be alright. We'll be alright.
Alright, anyone want to follow up that slobber knocker?
My dreams are usually really long and involved, but when I wake up, I don't remember them. Most of what I remember from last night's dream, my dog was invisible. I was on a cruise ship, but she has like this really annoying collar that jingles all the time, so that's what she had on. That's how we found her. Also, at one point, she had gotten herself into a bottle of water. Not meaning like she had opened it up and was drinking out of it. She was literally inside the bottle of water. I don't really know. We got her out. I think we just kind of pulled her out through the top, and she was okay somehow, despite the fact that there is no way. And that's about really all that I remember about that dream was that. But it went on for quite a while. But I cannot remember dreams when I wake up, just ever.
Oh, man. I don't remember a dream of my own, but I do remember a dream that someone explained that was about me, because I was in the dream also, sort of. All right. So, my friend, who is like a girl, like
a girlfriend?
Not a girlfriend, like she's just someone I know. And she's like a noob at games, so I like show her games sometimes. And like, I recently showed her like MGS5 because, you know, Big Boss is cool and all. In one of her dreams, she woke up at my room, and then like some people like from my family were around the house, and she was saying like they were looking for her or like something like weird or creepy like that. And then suddenly the closet opened up and Big Boss stepped out, and she basically equated it to me because like I was showing her how cool Big Boss was. And it was like, "On your feet, soldier," and like, "Hide here," or something like that. It was like really stupid when she was talking about it. Yeah. That's basically the story.
That's great. So as far as I go, I don't ever really remember my dreams. I am a notorious sleep talker, though. I've been told by more than one person. Even my brother, like when we shared rooms back in like first grade, he told me that I talked in my sleep almost all the time. So I don't ever get to experience my dreams firsthand. I get to experience them secondhand by my parents or my brother or my girlfriend going, "Do you know what you said last night?" And I'm like, "No." Apparently there was one time with my first girlfriend, like I was having a really stressful week, and I remember this very vividly. I was like 18 and I was mad and just like out of the middle of nowhere at like when I was by myself, I made like a chainsaw. I was like ring, 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 like that right. Apparently I repeated this that night in my sleep, and my girlfriend thought I was going to kill her. I'm like, no. So if I ever had a dream world, it would be largely incomprehensible because it would either be like black or like psychedelic or whatever, but there would be a lot of noise. Like the cohesion would be in the soundscape, whatever that would be.
Okay.
So it's chainsaw, static, and fax machine world.
No, like, apparently, like, with my brother, a dream I had around him was, like, he said that, I said something to the effect of, "I'm not killing that spider, kill your own damn spider." And according to my dad, around, like, 6th or 7th grade, he had come into my room, like, right after bedtime, and I had a full conversation with him, but I don't remember anything that I said.
Oh, my girlfriend's sister is like that, where she'll be half awake and have a full-blown conversation, and then the next day we'll be like, "Okay, are you ready to go do this thing we talked about yesterday?" And she'll be like, "What?"
Yeah, I do that too. Not so much anymore lately, but before I definitely do. I would have full-blown conversations with people, did not remember a single bit of it at all.
All right, anything else you guys would like to add before we call this a day?
The ending.
What's wrong with the Backstreet Boys?
Nothing.
Yeah, do we want to cover the ending?
Talk about the ending, I think.
Like, which ending? The ending? Because I guess there's multiple.
There's a good end and a bad end, and also a weird end.
Oh, I got one ending. I don't know which one it is.
Okay, here's the thing. When I played it a billion years ago, there was only one ending. Or there was only one guide, and the one guide only had one ending. So I didn't know there was like multiple endings now.
Yeah, it's possible that if there was an update, the bad end was probably the true end, and then people got up in arms. So then a good end was added, or was later found, possibly.
So the ending that I got, spoiler alert, it's you need all the effects, and then you go into the main room with all the doors, and you set them all down as eggs, and then you pinch yourself to wake up. And you go out into your balcony, and there's now like a little step ladder that leads to the edge of your balcony, and you just jump off and kill yourself.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the bad end. The good end, because I watched all of the endings before the cast. There's like this maze that I'd never seen before that you have to go through. You need to have the rain, you do need to have the demon, you need to have the cat, but there's like this hallway of candles which you need to then turn off, or like to put out with the rain. Then I guess as the demon you turn them all back on, and then you put them all back out, I guess. Then you continue on. There's enemies blocking the walkway, and in the cat, when you use the ability, it makes enemy, or just objects rather, move toward you. So you pull them toward you to get around them, go through all this stuff, and then you go through like a doorway, and then you wake up, and then Midatsuki just goes out her door. Like, she's awake, and she's apparently rationalized and come to terms with everything, so she can now face the world. And that's the good end.
Dude, I have the umbrella. Why didn't I think to put the candles out? Holy shit.
And then the weird end is kind of similar to the bad end it starts with, because you go out to the front, or to the balcony, and you're like getting ready to jump, but then like all the specters of like all of the people that you had met in the dream world start like showing up, and they just kind of like fill up pretty much the entire balcony, and then the screen kind of cuts to black, comes back up, they're all gone, and Midatsuki, the only time you see a text box in the whole game, she's like, screw this, I don't want to kill myself anymore. And then it cuts to another screen, and then there's just a dance party with everybody. With all like the things that you found. And that's the ending.
I think that's a fake one.
Yeah, probably the fake one. But those are the three endings that, as of the YouTube video I watched. So either she dies, she faces the world, or she has a wicked dance party.
Yeah, Midatsuki, equip that neon effect!
Oh boy. But yeah, years ago, the first ending was the one I got, and like it got me thinking, man, wow, are dreams like really this weird? Like you'd kill yourself over it or something? Like I was still young back then, so like yeah.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I was doing some reading, and there's a lot of like heavy imagery and thoughts that are on the game that I don't really need to, or we have time to get into. But apparently the game is supposedly about some pretty dark stuff. I didn't get any of that, but I'm also, a 31-year-old white male, so not really my aesthetic. But you can research, you can look online on the Yume Nikki wiki. There's all kinds of talk about it. So
right, okay. I have my own little game theory about this, because like at the start of the game, you see she's like one of those shut-ins, the ones that never go out of their room or whatever.
Right.
And like at the start of the dream, you go to bed, you go out of the room, right, through the door, and then you end up in door world.
Yep.
she's going out to more doors to other worlds, like probably how she sees the outside world or something like that. And then it's like every NPC you see is like a weirdo or a freak or someone that like messes you up somehow, right?
Okay.
Like almost every NPC you encounter.
Yeah, for the most part.
And like maybe she sees like most other people as similar to these fucking monsters, and it's like that's why she's like conflicted about going out.
Yeah, because I kind of imagine the tall, weird, trappy girls are like the bullies at school.
The Harpy girls.
Yeah.
I think that Medotsky is kind of isolated and awkward and fucking... God, when you're talking, I have it in my head, but when you're not talking, it disappears.
This is why you're bad at dreaming, Cody.
God, no, it's the themes of like isolation and stuff, and everyone is strange to her. That's where I was getting at. It's like she has some kind of social anxiety because she never imagines like, besides like the ghosts in the forest worlds, no one really ever follows her around or has any vested interest in what she's doing. It's
right,
you know, and I've been there when I was younger. Is like everyone seems so alien. I'm not like everyone else. Why are they doing the things that they're doing? Why is everyone so weird? I think like the chasing girls are definitely a metaphor for something, because like it could either be that she understands girls a little bit better, so they're female and a little bit more relatable, but also more hostile. Because you don't see many males. You see like the guy in the spaceship room, and then you see like the faceless dudes in the subway, but they're just like the faceless females. They're just kind of like non-entities, really.
Right,
and they have
right.
like tokens. Like in the numbers room and the flute room, they're just they're like tokens. They're like big round things.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, and I think like Chasing Girl could be like her older sister or something, because there's one, I think it's the numbers room. Yeah, it's on the far left side of the numbers room, where it's a bunch of beds, and there's one there that just doesn't do anything. Like they're just walking around. So it could be that her older sister antagonized her forever, but suddenly stopped being a bitch when she moved to college and moved into a dorm.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Or just stopped because she wasn't around to antagonize her anymore. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff that could be said. I don't know. There's a lot of Aztec imagery too, and I don't really know why. Because presumably the game is set in Japan, but maybe not. I don't know. So it's hard to say.
Yeah, and this is why this game is like a forum game.
So here's a question though. Did anybody play the NES?
Nasu?
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah, I did a bit.
The game was bullshit.
I did not.
I got the 8, so I'm happy with that score.
Yeah. I wonder what the high score is.
God.
But
who's the crazy motherfucker that actually counts it up to 10,000? Like,
right. God, that game was stupid though. I played it for so long thinking that maybe I can like unlock something where it appears in the dream world, and that I can like get an effect from it. Like that was my thought, and no, did not get anywhere on that fucking game. So I'm glad that it didn't really serve any purpose as far as the effects go, at least from what I was looking at.
Kind of going back to the apartment, actually, that was my first note that I took. I walked outside of my apartment and was on my balcony, and I was like, where the fuck do I live? Where is this? I'm like, am I in the dream already? I don't know, it just seems so weird that like she lives in a building that's presumably really high up, but when you look in the background, there's no other tall buildings anywhere. It's just the sky. So
don't you know the rates are really good in the Black Void? So yeah.
No, she lives in Tenpenny Tower.
Well, shouldn't I see a mushroom cloud in the background then?
But yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of unknowns in the game, which probably adds to the intrigue and the mystery and all the interesting stuff in it. Because if you knew the answers, then people wouldn't still be talking about it today. So
exactly, it is a perfectly crafted intrigue engine.
It is true.
All right, last call.
I got nothing.
Back streets back. All right.
Fuck that.
All right. On that note, thank you all for listening to the RPG Maker General Podcast or the RPG MGP. We hope you've enjoyed this format. We're probably going to be talking about one game per cast in the future. If you liked it, please let us know. If you don't, please tell us to meme harder. We'll do our best. This is Cody, and we'll catch you all in 2018.
This is Red Mage. We'll see y'all later.
This is Deldris. Good night and dank memes.
This is Blue Sky Robyn. I already forgot my sign out call sign thing, so mail me.
Mail you?
Mail me?
I don't know. I forgot how the internet works during the hiatus.
We'll send you a postcard like, Dear Robyn, here is your new catchphrase.
Rob, give me your address. I will postcard you a catchphrase.